Right,
Your name?
Right, yeah. Arthur A. Best.
Okay, what branches of service did you serve?
The Navy, 1944, and Korea, 1950.
Okay. This is in Albany, New York. This is the interview. April 29th. I'm Captain Sweeney.
Right.
All right, sir. We want to talk about your pre-war education. What did you do before the war?
Oh, high school, school. I graduated from high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were you drafted?
No, I enlisted.
You enlisted?
Yeah, I enlisted. Yes.
Did you find that the Navy? Did you enlist in the Navy or the Army?
No, the Navy. The Navy. I enlisted in the Navy.
Why did you enlist?
Well, I was going to be 18. I was 17. So I told my father I might as well enlist because they're going to grab me anyway. And I didn't want to go into the Army. You see? So I enlisted in the Navy, and I was sent to Bainbridge, Maryland. But I enlisted in New York City. But so I told the guy, I said, look, a lot of my friends went to Great Lakes, and they came home, and I seen plumber's mate, electrician's mate. I said, I want to go to Great Lakes. No, he said, it's a quota for black seamen. And he said, you're going to have to go down to, if you come in, we're going to have to send you to Bainbridge, Maryland. That's steward school. And I said, look, I didn't want no steward school. He said, well, what best you could do is go down, take it. Maybe you might be able to change over and get sent to Great Lakes, which never happened. Once you get down to steward school, you are stuck. You are stuck. And the first one you meet is a chief Filipino steward, a chief steward. And he said, you guys are down here, they talk real short, choppy. You guys are down here. This is a steward training school in the Navy. You will serve officers. That's your job. And we will teach you to serve officers. You are steward mates. See? So he said, man, what the heck is this? I'll tell one of the fellas. I couldn't, my father, he was a regular worker. He worked in a defense plant. But one of the fellas had an aunt that was, she was a little political. She knew somebody in Chicago. He said, look, man, I'm going to write my aunt. She'd get me out of here. Sure enough, she pulled strings and he got sent to Great Lakes. But if you didn't know anybody, you were just there. So you're just there. So I went through it. And then we had training up at Newport, Rhode Island, firefighting and all that stuff. And while you're in boot camp, they call it, right? In boot camp, you get trained as a seaman. You have to take seamanship training too. So everybody is out there in the whaleboats, and you learn seamanship. Well, just in case when you do get to see your ship get hit, you got to know how to tie knots. You got to, do just like what the white seamen do. You see, it was a segregated base too, segregated. The white sailors were like on the other side, and we were on our side. But our commanding, well, he wasn't really a commanding officer, but you could call him a commanding officer. He was a petty officer, a white fella. So it was all black. We were all black, but petty officer, his name was Certissimo. I never forgot his name. Certissimo, an Italian guy, Certissimo, and he was the company commander. But later on, we found out he was a second-class petty officer. But he's one. He was like a CO. He was like a CO, and we went to training. But then when we did go to the chief's steward, we had a regular basic training. But then when we reported to that Filipino guy, the chief, he was a chief's steward. He took us to the wardroom, the officer's wardroom, and he said, "You see, you're going to learn how to set tables and serve the officers." And so then I started serving the officers. It was an ensign, It was a mine warfare. We got a transfer mine warfare test station in Washington D.C. So who knew about how serving? So I had a plate of soup. Spilled on one of the ensign's sleeve. I said, "I'm sorry, sir." So I took a napkin and wiped it. But they were nice. The officers were great. They were great. He said, "That's okay, steward." He said, "It's okay." Oh no, they were great. He didn't mind. But later on, you learn to do that. And then after that, we went to firefighting school up in Newport, Rhode Island. But by train, everything was train in those days, no plane. So we took a troop train from Newport down to Tampa, Florida. And down there, we met another steward, another Filipino. A lot of Filipinos and blacks and Orientals got stuck, in the steward branch. And some of them wanted it, but the idea, like we didn't, like we couldn't transfer out. We were stuck in the steward, you know, and so you couldn't transfer. See. So anyway, this guy, we met another Filipino chief, and he said, "Okay, we're forming the ship details in Tampa, Florida." So we woke up one morning. We went to the what they call the base, like a repo depot. Went to the base, and he said, "Okay, we'll break you guys up into details. When I call your ship, you go over there. When I call your ship, you go the other ship, you go over there." So, so I was on the USS Osage. So he called the Osage detail over here. The Antietam detail was a carrier over there. The Shelby detail over there. This is like a group of, say, 25, 50 men going to their ship. See, the Shelby was a cruiser. Shelby was a cruiser. My ship, the Antietam, was a big aircraft carrier. You see, and they were named after wars, past wars. You see, the Antietam. And, but then I went to the USS Osage, which was an LSV, landing ship vehicle in the amphibious force. See, we're the amphibious force. It wasn't the LST with the front bow. We had, they built 6 of them at the end of World War II, 3 in the Pacific and 3 in the Atlantic. You see, they built 6. So we were on the LSV-3, and they had LSV 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we were LSV-3. And so then we went down to the ship. So what was going on to the ship in Tampa, Florida? So some of the shipwrights and the plumbers were coming off, civilians. And they talk about, "Oh, you boys can't come on this ship. You boys can't, some white fellas, white guys. You boys can't come on this ship." So we said, "What do you mean we can't come on this ship? We assigned to the ship, you know? We're all black. We assigned to the ship." "Oh, you boys, what do you mean?" Because they were finishing up their work. So the good thing, the dentist, Lieutenant J.G., he was behind us. And he said, no, these sailors are assigned to this ship. What are you talking about they can't? No, you guys get lost. So, yeah, so they were talking, we thought they were nuts. So anyway, the J.G. said, "No, come on, let's go, man. And we all went down to the Osage. You see, it was commissioned in Todd Shipyard in Tampa, Florida. Later on, like now, the USS Slater, was right next to us, built by Todd Shipyard in 1944. The USS Slater, I just read the thing, but in those days, you don't know who is who. You know, you don't even know your ship, USS Slater. But I read in the Times-Union that the Slater was built in the same shipyard we were. They were down there too, being built. And then our ship was a welded job. Slater, welded job. See, Todd shipyard, they were welding the ships at that time, you know, later on at that time. Well, they were welding them all during the war, but ours was welded. I noticed the Slater is welded too, but we were probably next to each other. Who knew it, you know? And so then we went on board the Osage, USS Osage. And what was another funny thing about it? Like, okay, you knew, right? Every time you pass an officer, you got to throw him the slam. Boom, you throw him the slam. So on board ship, and after we pulled out, like on our shakedown cruise, they call it the shakedown cruise.
What did they call it that?
That's a new ship, like you're breaking in. They call it the shakedown cruise. That's breaking in a new ship. We had that in the Gulf of Mexico. But the funny part, whenever you see an officer on deck, whenever you pass, so you're living together, so the officer catch it, not you, because he got to salute about 100 guys. So then later on, the loudspeaker, the enlisted personnel do not have to salute the officers all day, just once in the morning or the first meeting, and that's it. And then, and that's it, just the first meeting. None of anybody was going to, the officers were catching it, not us, because, they had to salute everybody. But the officers were great. They were nice. They were very good. Yeah, even we had officers in them days, too. Even Lieutenant Pugh, he was from Savannah, Georgia. Lieutenant Pugh. The other dentist, he was from Atlanta, Georgia. But these guys were educated men, college, college, and they were good. We didn't have one officer call us out a name, not one officer. Until they learn your name. Steward, could you have me a cup of coffee at night? Toast. I like some toast steward. Then when they learn your name, Artie, what about a cup of coffee? Drinking coffee all day in the Pacific, But we had the shakedown cruise from New Orleans, the Gulf of Mexico. Went out there. We said, "Holy mackerel, are we in the Pacific Ocean yet?" The Gulf of Mexico, it looked like you're in the ocean. It's big. You see, so then we'll pull into Galveston, Texas, and we have a little liberty there for 2 nights. And then we go back out into the Gulf, shakedown. They open up the ship, and see what they could do. Just like a car, and then New Orleans, so for New Orleans, Galveston, Texas. and then a place called Algiers down there, and that was good. So we kept that up for about 3 months. About 3 months. Then we got assigned to go to the Pacific, you see? And the first place we hit was Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor, Sweeney, Arizona, kicked over. The mast of the battleships like that. Hickman Field, down. Everything was down. And because we got there, and this was 1944. That's, everything was down. Sweeney, Arizona, sunk. A couple other battleships, the ones that got caught, sunk. So we stood in Pearl Harbor, had liberty there for about, I'll say about a month. And then after we took some troops, we started loading up our troops. And we said, okay, we're going out to the Pacific. And we took some troops, Army troops, out to Saipan, Tinian, and you see, those wars were settled already. The invasion on those islands was already done. So these guys were replacing the first, the guys that were there first, the fighters. They were replacing them. So we took them to, we stopped in Ulithi for water. That was a water hole, Ulithi. And then Anahuac, a place called Anahuac. Well, like I told you, overseeing was the tree stumps. No coconuts up there, no bush. The battleships took care of that. It was just like this, all the stumps. So then we went to Anahuac, and then from there we went to, how you doing? Okay, yeah, we went to Saipan. It's Saipan, but everything was already settled.
Now explain a little about the trees again.
Yeah.
Why were they like that?
The battleships softened up the island before the invasion. Before an invasion.
What's softening up?
That means firing in to the enemy. You're firing shells into the enemy. Try to kill them or try to get them to scatter. So when your troops come in, you wouldn't have too much of a resistance. So they're throwing in the shells. But the reason why a lot of them wasn't killed, because the pillboxes this high, and the Japanese were in pillboxes and in tunnels. Pillboxes with 3 feet thick concrete. Because after everything was settled, we were able to go up into the hills, and we said, "Holy cow! Look at what they were sleeping in. Pillboxes. They'll go in there when the shelling came. See, after the shelling, they'll come out. They're 3 feet thick. I never forgot that. I'm gonna try to get the picture of it. I sent it to one of my buddies, I think. I'm gonna try to get it back. I had pictures of Saipan and everything. And so then, but when they say soften up, the battleships and the cruisers, in those days, the battleship war, boom, boom, and they cut the palm trees tops off. Cut them off, yeah, cut them off, yeah. It was nothing but tree stumps. And then the natives, they evacuate the natives to a peaceful island before they do this, like the natives are not there. So then we went to Saipan, Tinian, Guam. We put some of the troops off in Guam. And in Guam, and then after that we went to, where did we go? We came back to Frisco. See, that was our home port. Came back to Frisco, picked up some more troops, brought them to Shanghai, China. Shanghai, China. This was all after the war, though. Yeah, after the war, we brought them to Shanghai, China. But before going to China, we were hearing talks about Iwo Jima. We didn't even know what they were talking about. Oh, the Marines are going to land at a place called Iwo Jima. It was really Iwo Jima. But in those days, they didn't tell you nothing. But I used to see the officer looking at the map in the wardroom. They had a big map in the wardroom. So I said, oh, this is the place, Iwo Jima. And the captain said, we might be heading for the invasion of Iwo Jima. And because our captain was Captain Keith. He was from New Mexico. He got wounded down in Leyte Gulf, an invasion of Leyte, and he was a destroyer captain. And his destroyer got caught with the Japanese, had to steam out fast, and he caught one of his arms was like limp. He got wounded on one of the arms, but Captain Keith his name was. And since then he died, because one of the reunion men, he sent me a list of who's living and who died, here in Illinois. But Captain Keith died, but we said, no, he's not going to take the ship in action. We're not going to see no action. All the officers too, we're not going to see no action. So then we said, he said, well, we missed this place called Iwo Jima. We didn't even know how to say the name, Iwo Jima. But then one of the officers said, Artie, we're going to be going to a place called the Ryukyu Islands. The Ryukyu Islands. So where's the Ryukyu Islands? He said, it's near Japan. So what? We said the captain is going into we all going to action. One of the lieutenants, he was an administrative lieutenant, Lieutenant Korff. He was from Oyster Bay, Long Island. Yeah, K-P-O-R-F, Korf, a nice guy, Lieutenant Korf. I said, Lieutenant, is it sure the captain is going to take this ship to sea action? He said, yeah, Artie, we're getting ready for the invasion of Okinawa. Okinawa? So then, well, all during your time on the water, you have what they call general quarters. You do this night and day, general quarters. So I was on a 20-millimeter gun, you know, up on deck, 20-millimeter gun, and then some of the guys were spread around on 40-millimeter Bofors, 40-millimeter. And we had one cook from Texas, Ali, big black guy, light-skinned guy, Ali. He was a loader on a 5-inch gun. And so you have this GQ day and night. And the first night GQ, running up the ladders of a ship, you know, don't say stairs, you know, ladders. You run up the ladder, more knees, and we got bunked, you know, at night. So you had to do this at night, too, because you have to work your gun at night. You have to learn how to do this at night, because after you get up there, within a half hour, you get what they call night vision, and you could see at night. I told my wife that before she passed. I say, oh yeah, you stay in the dark long enough, it's like being in the day. Yeah, well, you know that you could see at night, the night vision. But you look over here, and the eye, the object would be like there, you know. And we call it night vision. And then every day we had recognition, the aircraft, recognition. They put you in a dark room, and throw up a silhouette. Oh, Betty. See, now the Jap planes are named after girls. Betty. And then, F4F, you know, like the flash, the slides up. F4F, Judy, Jap pursuit plane, Judy, got a belly. You see, had a fat belly. Judy, you see, you knew Judy when you seen Judy, you see? And then Helen was a Japanese Mitsubishi bomber. Helen, and then they'll fool you and throw up F5F, that's a Navy clip wings. You see, that's a Navy plane, US F5F. And then throw up another plane, the recognition they call it. Every day, and target practice every day. They'll throw up balloons will go up. The flow the balloons will go up. Boom, 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 boom. The 40 millimeters, see? Practice every day. And then we see it, because before we left Hawaii, we had the plane with the sleeve. We had that once or twice with the sleeve. But when you get out in the middle of the Pacific, the ship sends up balloons, and every day. So then one day they came over the loudspeaker. We're heading, we're heading for Okinawa. We're going to pick up convoy number. I've got the convoy number. 22 merchant ships. 22 merchant ships. We're heading for a place called Okinawa. So then we knew we were going into action. Everything was all right. But the closer you get, it comes over the loudspeaker. We are now entering the combat zone. Anything could happen. We might have Jap submarines under us. And so then you get a little shaky, like you get a little nervous. We are now in the combat zone. Anything could happen. We're going to the invasion of Okinawa. The destroyers going through the convoy like that. The destroyers just going through. But you had 22 merchant ships there, and then we had this. It might have been the Slade. It was the DE leading the pack. Because one stormy morning, I went up on deck. You know, after breakfast, after serving the officers, I went on deck. All you could see is the mast. I said, that DE is underwater, man. All you can see is this, whipping, leading the pack, leading the convoy. And then the destroyers, they'd be going through the convoy looking for, for submarines, sonar. But we made it, and like I said, the closer we got, all of a sudden we heard this boom, boom. Well, the first time you ever hear this kind of noise, Boom, boom, boom. We said, what the heck is that? Then one lieutenant said, Artie, that's the battle wagons. They've been up there 2 days ahead of time. And, how you doing? Okay, how you doing there? 2 days ahead of time, softening up the island, see, for the invasion, see? He said the battle wagon's been up there, and all you could hear was that boom, boom, the long toms, 16-inch guns, 6 cannons, shooting off. Now, see, because the planes, in that day, see, it was like a different war. We didn't have bombers like we have today, or during the Korean War, see? It was battle wagons, you see? It was battle wagons. They were the ones with those long toms, and those things were shooting 20 miles away. They were way in the back, 20 miles away. They set the coordinates, you know how the coordinates they set, boom, angle off, and 20 miles away, and we didn't even see them, all we heard them. We just heard them. So then the day, so then it was around April 1st was D-Day. We got there April 2nd. All the ships took their place. They call it fleet anchorage. Fleet anchorage, something like, it looked like 1,000 ships, believe it or not. On the, surrounding the island of Okinawa, it looked like 1,000 ships. It might have been, say, 400 maybe. But then we had GQ. Naturally, they say, don't take off your clothes now. You sleep in your clothes. Sure enough, 4 o'clock in the morning, ding, 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 up to the gun mount. And then I had my head, bogies, they call them bogies. Bogies coming in at 800 miles. Bogies, the Japanese were coming in from the island or from Japan, because it was close to Japan. Bogies, 400 miles. Bogies, 300, coming fast. Bogies, 200 miles, bogies, overhead. And the planes are kind of small, you couldn't see them, but they were up there. And then when all the stuff started shooting, because with all the ships anchored, they had the landing craft, LCIs. They had a little ship called the LCI, Landing Craft Infantry. They had rockets. They had rockets right next to us. Their rockets started going up. We were shooting. The other ship shooting. It was like the Star Spangled. I said to myself, now I know why Francis Scott Key wrote the Star Spangled Banner.
So now you're in a different job position, right?
Yeah.
You become a steward.
Oh no, in the Navy, you have 2 duties. You have what they call a military duty and your service duty.
Okay.
The service duty, you're a steward. Your military duty, you could be a loader, you could be loading the ship, you could be a gunner, you could be, I was a sight setter. See, you have 2 duties. Yeah, that's where they get you. See, because one day, early in the morning, one of the stewards ran up there with his mess jacket on, white jacket. See, that's how you serve the officers in a white jacket. So he ran up there at his gun mount with a white jacket. So the control tower, that steward down there, take off that white jacket. Because the Japanese got good binoculars. You see that? There they are. He's like, whip off that white jacket. So he took it off, I think he has his t-shirt on. Well, we usually had our chambray shirt on. Yeah, that's right. He took off the jacket. We had on chambray shirts. The executive officer say, this ain't the movies. You keep those sleeves buttoned. Like in the movies, you see John Wayne naked. No. You get powder burns. So you kept the sleeves on, chambray shirt buttoned, and the button, the blue chambray. And so then the bogies came over, and one day they were shooting, and the 2 planes were up there dogfighting. And then one of them pulled away, but the other plane went, after him. And it exploded. And so we thought it was a Japanese plane. So we said, oh, everybody, how you do, clapping. Well, but then 2 days later, after we got called to GQ again, the Kantawa said that the plane that was shot down yesterday was an American plane. Oh, man, you could have heard the sigh. A silent. He said, she was so high that we thought it was a Japanese plane that got hit. He said it was an American plane got hit, it went down. But they got the Japanese plane with the guns, Oh yeah, they got them with, those 40 millimeters, those guns, they follow a plane right down to the ocean. They're like that. They're very flexible, 40 millimeter, both as they call them. Doom, 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 doom. And they follow a plane right down to the sea. Yeah, so and then like I told you, this one plane, two planes got hit. One went toward the island. One was still looked like he was hanging in the air, and we thought he's coming this way. He's got no place you could run because you're in the gun turret, He's coming this way, but then he didn't. Cause the boat would start getting at him, and he crashed like about 50 feet away from the ship. Came over the ship, and the water went way up in the air. But then the thing that feels strange, when you're a kid in the movies, you see them parachute out. But in real life, the plane exploded. We said, there's nobody parachuting. I said, well, nobody's parachuting. The plane exploded, right like that, like that. And then the kamikaze, over the set, the kamikazes just hit the hospital ship Comfort. Big Red Cross from here to almost halfway to the hall. Came right down. 2 kamikazes in the hospital ship Comfort. Because we traveled with 3 hospital ships. We had the Comfort, we had the Mercy, and another one called the Repose. Which, like in our fleet, I think it was Task Force 56, I think, not 58. But we had 3 hospital ships with us, and the Comfort got hit, but it still sailed. It didn't sink it. Oh no, it didn't sink it. They were big vessels. Big vessels. But then after Okinawa, then we went to Shanghai, China. Went to Shanghai, China, and Oh, got 5 more minutes. Okay, thank you. Went to Shanghai, China, and that was good too, because we had a Chinese guy, tour guide. We went to a place on Nanking Boulevard. We were drinking, but then at the end he wanted us to pay him. We said, here's 50 cents. No, he wanted 50 cents. In them days, big money for them. But we said, no, you drank too with us. Me and Alexander and another sailor, 3 of us. So the guy said, no, I want 50 cents, money. Then we said, but you drank with us. So we started leaving the place, so he couldn't cause a ruckus in the place, like a night spot. So when we got out, we took off, 3 guys running from 1 man. We took off, and then we seen a rickshaw guy. We said, "Joke!" We said, "Man, look, take us to the ship." That guy started running with the rickshaw. He's still coming. We said, "Run faster!" That was comical too. So when you get near the jetty, they call it, here's the wharf, and there's a line of Chinese policemen. So so they're there to keep the civilians away. So he couldn't get to us. Like, oh no, that was comical. We were running from this one guy. So then we went to Shanghai, and after Shanghai, then we went into Yokohama, Japan. Yeah, we said, Cap, we're going into where? Yokohama. Yeah, but we just won the war. Suppose they catch us in our throat. We just won the war, and they're going right up into Japan. It was something like a month after the war. Going into Japan, we said they might be still mad. Went up into Yokohama, Japan, had Liberty there. No, nobody bothered you. But that was comical. We said they might still be mad. You guys go on Liberty in Yokohama. And so after that, we had a nice time. We went down to a place called Noumea, New Caledonia, French island in the Fijis, the Fiji island group. And there's a French island down there called Noumea. New Caledonia is the island, New Caledonia. And that was nice down there. Yeah, New Caledonia was nice. And they had black people down there, but they had like a patch of blonde hair. And they say if you see a guy with blonde hair, that means he's married. He's a married man. That's something. Yeah, had a blonde hair. Black guy like me. I think they were Kanakas. They call them Kanakas. Yeah, they spoke English, but they were Kanakas, and they all had the Fiji look. They all had that nose, like you see how the Fiji Islanders. They all had that homogeneous feature. All had that homogeneous, Fiji feature. That's something. Yeah, that was something. But they were nice. But it was a French possession. So in the stores, a lot of French in Shanghai, China at the time, and Russian. We had a big Russian general we took over there. But in the stores, oh, okay, thanks. In the stores were French women, like in a 5 and 10, like Macy's, like over there. They were working behind the counters. Yeah, they were. Do you think you would have seen Chinese? Yeah, no, they were French. Yeah, I noticed that. I said, no Chinese girls working in the store? No, French. They were French. No, we're from France. Look at that. Yeah, we're from France. But then we came back to Frisco and San Pedro, California. That was our other home port, San Pedro. But other than that, the officers were good. We had some good officers, very good. And then the captain, when we did get on the ship, he said, I don't want we didn't have no racial, right, no racial, but we were segregated in the front of the ship. But as far as with the white guys, no, you walked around the ship, did what you wanted to do, You played cards together, played baseball together. Yeah, played together. The engine room, all from the South. A lot of them guys from Mississippi did. But the captain said, no, I don't want no kind of interracial, fighting, nothing like that. And we never had it. Yeah, he put the law down the minute we got on the ship. Yeah, Captain Key. Yeah,
Okay. We'll change tapes now.
Well, I just got, believe it or not, there was a piece in the paper.
Tell me what it is.
Yeah, it's a Navy combat ribbon. It's a Navy combat ribbon.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a Navy combat ribbon, and that's for the one battle, that Okinawa. See, I went and toward the tail end of the war. Okinawa was the last battle. That's what that's for. See, the last battle. That's a battle ribbon. You see? So and I just got it about 6 months ago. Just got it 6 months ago. I think the Pentagon, there's a letter that comes with it. authorizing you to wear it. It's not just up there like I bought at an Army and Navy store. You see, it's a letter that comes with this from the Pentagon. And I think I read it in one of the veterans, at one of the Veterans Center, that you could send away for it. So I sent my DD-13, well, Navy, it's different, it's a 553. It's a Naval Papers 553. So I sent that to, was it the Pentagon? Somewhere in Texas, I think. And took something like 6 months to come. So I just got it. After they didn't get it during after the war, they just got it now, 50 years later. Just got it 50 years later.
Now, how did you go from the Navy to the Army?
Oh, that's a good story. See, I did 2 years in the Navy, right? From 44 to 46. Got out, and then went to school on a, bum around a little bit, naturally rested up, and then went to school on a GI Bill. You see, I didn't go to work. I went to school on a GI Bill. We had the GI Bill. And I went to school for drafting and design, you see.
Yeah.
So then after
4 years of college?
No, not college, just was private institutes in, in New York City.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just private Manhattan Technical Institute. And they taught mechanical drafting, machine design, stuff like that, architectural drafting if you wanted. So then after I finished the course, 2 years, it was a 2-year course. But naturally, without college or anything, companies would, they wouldn't hire you, to tell you the truth. They wouldn't hire you. And then so a lot of times I went to different outfits, and the secretaries would say, okay, don't call us, we'll call you. So there was some discrimination there. You see, figure you're black, and there's a good bit of discrimination. Plus, with not having a college education, that hindered you a little bit. So okay, so then I started taking civil service exams. Took the test for federal guard down in D.C. I passed at 86. I took the post office test. Before I took the post office test, me and my brother-in-law went to the federal building in New York City, the federal building down on Barrow Street, in the Greenwich Village area. So they had a big federal building, still there, it's housing today. But we put in for, for a civil service job. So then naturally they asked, well, what do you know? So naturally we said, well, we don't know nothing, just come out of service, how could we know anything? But I came out as a steward. If I would have pursued it, which I really didn't care for the stewardship, I could have went to the hotels, to the hotel unit, and sure enough, I might have got something in the hotel line, but I didn't care for that. Like when I left the service, I told the executive officer I'd like to be an engineer, but naturally I didn't have it up here for an engineer, but I went into drafting. So, so anyway, when we went to the federal building for the civil service job, they had an opening there, and the lady said, well, since you don't know nothing, veterans, we have what they call a custodial. So I said, yeah. Okay, I'm still single. So I said, yeah, we'll take it. When you need a job, you just take it. Sure, on the floor, on the broom. They hand me the broom. You take custodial. I was assigned to the Grand Central Post Office in New York City. And it turned out to be a very good job. It turned out to be even though you was mopping floors, post office, general cleaning duties, you help out the charwoman. They had what they call a charwoman in them days. You move the furniture for them. See, that's why they call the title labor custodial. Like you would go upstairs later on and help Mrs. Monahan or Mrs. One of the ladies, Mrs. Graney, and another lady, Miss Rutherford. Go upstairs. The foreman would say, go upstairs and give the ladies a hand, move the desk for us. So you'll do the heavy work to move the desk for them. But it turned out to be a very good job. I liked it. But then the Korean War was brewing. So now this was, I was at the post office from 47, 48 to 49. 49, yeah, I think I went to the post office late 47, 48, and 49. Then the Korean War was brewing. So one of the guys that I went with, his name was Strobe. He was an Austrian kid. He was an Air Force reservist. So they called him back. So then I was single. So me like a fool said, well, I think I'll join the Army. They said, what are you joining the Army for? Nobody called you. I was in the Navy Reserve. See, so I told him, I said, well, I may get called back in reserve anyway. But my brother said, no, nothing came to the house yet. Well, so me like a fool, I joined the Army. Me like a fool joined the Army. I took drafting training. Maybe I could stay in the States as an Army draftsman. Stay in the States. You see, because I had the training. So I said, I'll go in the Army as a dress for my little nephew, the little guy. He said, Uncle Arthur, don't go in the Army. What you going in the Army for? I said, well, I got tired of the post office a little bit, and they called so-and-so back, and I think I just want to leave. So I took the badge, the post office badge, and so this is Mrs. Halpin, the secretary, said, okay, Artie, we'll take your badge. It goes right into this closet till if you get out. If you get out. It'll be right waiting for you when you get out. So when I went in the Army, I told the sergeant in San Francisco, Sarge, I said, he said, well, you ever in service before? That's the questions they ask you. So I said, yeah, I was in the Navy. He said, you was overseas before? I said, yeah. They have a stamp, a rubber stamp. Boom, boom, overseas again. I said, so what are you doing? He said, overseas again, you go. And sure enough, Korea, ended up in Korea, overseas again. See, I wanted to stay in the States, training younger guys, No, I went with the younger guys because I was a little older than them, over to Korea.
What did you do there?
But then I was lucky. Me and two other guys, we everything at night. We came from Frisco, we hit Hawaii. But don't change clothes. Lay down in the bunk with your clothes on. You're going to a ship going to take you to not to Japan. Where did we land? Midway Island. We're going to rest. Then from there to Japan. The war was over, right? We're going to Japan. Don't change. Because the soldiers are going to wake you up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Woke us up in a big hall. Nothing but officers lined the whole hall. Nothing but officers. Middle of the night. How much insurance you got, soldier? I got 5,000. Now you got 10,000. Boom. 5,000. Now you got 10,000. Boom. Because we're on the way to Korea. They call it the pipeline. From San Francisco, they put you in the pipe, and you went through the pipeline. They call it the pipeline. You could ask anybody. And we ended up, that pipeline took us to Japan. It was a Japanese ship waiting there for us. Took us to Busan, Korea. Well, all this at night. I met Indian soldiers. Pakistan guys, Turkish, on the ship. It was the United Nations, the United Nations troops. This wasn't supposed to be a war. This was a police action. See? So they had Turkish, Indian, Irish, all nations, on the ship. French. So I met a little French soldier. So I said, oh, what outfit you in? We were sleeping on straw mats. Come to think of it, just a straw mat. Just laying. He said, "Are you in the engineer in France? In French they call it the engineer." He was an engineer. Oh, I saw an engineer. He said, "Yeah, the engineer." That's how I say it in French. But then that ship took us to Busan, Korea, in the middle of the night. Okay, let's go. They had cattle cars waiting for us. Cattle cars, them big, huge trucks. We call them cattle cars. So the guy said, "You see those guys over in that other one? Those are officers." An old sergeant was telling us. He said, this is just when the war was hot. It was in 1951. He said, those officers you see there, they're coming back in body bags tonight. We said, what? He said, officers lasted 8 hours when it was first hot. 8 hours. He said, some of them guys will be coming back in body bags. We said, what? So anyway, this cattle cars took us to okay, after we went up in the cattle car, they took us back down to Busan. Well, we were still in Busan, but they took us to the train station. Here come a big old-time choo-choo train. Like the old-time choo-choo train that we used to have. Big, the all black, to Korean guys, engineers. It passed us like, the engine, like the old-time engine, like they used to have in the old days. Okay, everybody on the train. It was the middle of the night. So then this train started leaving Busan, going up. Now they said this train is going to the front, We went up to a place called Busan, and then we hit another city called Mason. I learned this afterwards, but it was going up toward the front. And then it was a lieutenant there calling names, and he said, PFC Best. PFC was another guy from Birmingham, Alabama, and another guy. It was three of us. The guy said, you guys get off here. A place called Daegu. We found out it was a place called Daegu, Korea. In the middle of the night, they just put you on the train like you were standing in a desert, empty, and the train took off. He said, so where the heck are we, man? We didn't even know where we were. Where are we? I wonder if we're up near the front, But luckily we seen two headlights coming at us, It was a Jeep. So the Jeep driver, he came down and got it. He said, come on, you guys are going to the Alpha. We said, man, is this the front line? He said, no, you guys are lucky. You're 20 miles from the front line. But you were glad. And it was a construction outfit. You know, construction and engineer construction battalion. Very lucky. So then I was married. So I wrote the wife. And I said, honey, they got, at least I ended up with a construction outfit. God was with me. God was with me. So this was 20 miles behind. The line then was below Seoul. It was below Seoul. There was a place called, not Uijeonbu. Uijeonbu was above Seoul. This was below Seoul. I think called Cheonju. Yeah. Was you in the service too? Were you in the service? Yeah. Korea? No, not Korea. Oh, you're a young guy, huh? Young guy. Yeah. What? Vietnam? Vietnam? Which one? Oh, I didn't hear. Oh, yeah, okay. But anyway, this was, you know, this. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Oh, that's okay. Let's take it easy. Yeah, you're all right. But then what happened? We went to this engineer outfit, and we was lucky. I was lucky, and I told my wife, I said, no, I'm in an engineer outfit 20 miles behind the lines, because the lines then was in Gyeongju. I forgot some of the names, but it's below Seoul, the North Koreans. But then we was in Daegu, so we were building bridges. And then the captain, the master sergeant, he said, Artie, I see you got some drafting experience. But one of the, not experience, just school experience. So one of the other draftsmen, Jose, his name was, he got sick and was sent to Japan. So the major said, Artie, we'd like to know, could you draw bridges? So I told him, I said, I don't know, Major, maybe. So the manual's there. So we start drawing, next you know, stripe, corporal. The captain liked me. Sergeant. So Sergeant Kelly, he said, man, how you making sergeant so quick? See, now this was before Truman integrated. We were called the Black Army. It was the all-black army. See, it was the Black Army. It was a black outfit with white and black officers. You see, Colonel Johnson was white. But then we had about 2 black officers, and one joined later, and white officers. But it was called the Black Army because we were segregated. You see, so it's Kelly. Sergeant Kelly wasn't Irish. He was a black guy from Texas. See, Kelly. He said he's like, but he said, man, he's getting them stripes. He said the captain liked the work you're doing, you know. And then I used to kid. We had a Korean engineer with a South Korean engineer, Mr. Cho. He was nice, Mr. Cho. And I thought so. He was a little short guy. He was an engineer with the Japanese in Shanghai, China, 1925, he told me. He was an old man, but he didn't look old, you know, he looked good. Because in Korea, you'll see Papa-san with the long pipe and a little opium in there. See, he said, Artie, in America, you don't know how to use opium. You see, we mix it with something else. And they sit there and just smoke and they get a little high. They get the high. But Mr. Cho, he was nice, you know. He had a little son used to come to the camp with him sometime. So I used to kid Mr. Cho. I said, Mr. Cho, do tell me, please. How do you say? I say, oh yeah, Mr. Cho. Yeah, something like that. I say, please do tell me, or do tell me, please. Where does the poppies grow? You know, something like that. Mr. Cho, where does the poppies grow? He said, no, honey, the poppies don't grow in South Korea. They grow in North Korea, where the climate, you know. I used to kid him though, you know. The poppies are in North Korea. But that's when I did my drafting in the Army. See, I did my drafting.
Well, how did you get these 4 Bronze Stars?
Oh, now when they say you got these Bronze Stars, it's the company gets it. See?
Okay, well, explain to me about that. How did your company get the Bronze Stars?
Because we assisted the infantry. Like whatever infantry unit was up ahead of us, we took lumber up. We took lumber up. Not me per se, but the trucking outfit took lumber up. They were building bunkers. We took the lumber up, took the ice up. See, we supported the front. See, and by supporting the front, you qualify for a Bronze Star too. Yeah, you qualify. It's on the discharge too. I can show it to you. I have proof of it. Yeah, and you qualify for the Bronze Stars. So, yeah, see. So so after that, I did 3 years on the Army, and then I got out. And the captain, even the lieutenant in the Navy, wanted me to stay. You know, they liked me, they wanted me to stay. And then so Captain Tripp, he was from Montana. Artie, stay in. I'll make you a Master Sergeant construction sergeant. But I said, no. You know, I want to get out. I'm married. You know, I want to get out. You know. So I did my 3 years in the Army. I was stationed at Governor's Island, New York, which was, it wasn't Coast Guard then, it was 1st Army Headquarters. So when I came back, I got assigned to a signal division. And I was doing drawings for them, because my MOS was draftsman. So I was a draftsman with the signal outfit. and I got discharged at Governor's Island, New York.
Now, did you do that after you got out? Did you pursue the draftsman career when you got out of the Army?
No, I didn't do it when I got out because I was on the cops list. See, before going in, I took the cop. Remember I told you I used to take a lot of civil service, so I passed the cops. I took the fire. I wanted fire. I didn't want cop, but I failed the fire by 2 points, and I was too lazy to take it again. See, that's when I went into the Army.
So you became a cop?
Yeah, and I became a cop. Took the cops test, and that was waiting for me when I came out the Army. You see?
So you're a policeman?
Yeah, 20 years. Yeah, 20. NYPD. Yeah. Because how long you been with the state? A good while. How long you been with the state?
8 years.
Ooh, wow. God bless you, man. Yeah. Well, I went NYPD 20 years. Yeah. Because what happened? I took the test before going in. Now, my brother sent me a letter. He said, "Man, they're calling you. They're calling you. You get what they call a call letter." I said, "Yeah, I'm on the way over here, 12,000 miles away now." Huh? But when they call you, they put you on a special military list. See, they have the regular list, special military. The minute you get out, they have to take you because they pass you up. You see, and you get credit for that time they pass you up. So I got out earlier. I got out. I did 19 years and 2 months. Yeah, I got out earlier. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the funniest or most inspiring thing that happened to you. Can you tell me about that story?
The guy McKinney, yeah, his name was McKinney. We came in from Liberty. This was in San Pedro. And McKinney was a little short sailor. All these short guys, they always get into trouble, little short sailors. So McKinney, we went to the liquor. I think we had somebody buy the liquor for us, so we were under 21. So we used to get an older civilian and go in the store and try to get us a small pint. But coming back to the ship, McKinney, we didn't know he had it neither. See, McKinney was a guy, if you put the bottle to his head, you had to pull it down because he would finish the whole thing. And we all chipped in them days together. But McKinney had a pint under his arm, in the peacoat, under the peacoat. Instead of putting it in the pocket, he had it under his arm. So when you come aboard ship again at night or the next morning after Liberty, you salute the Union Jack. That's the white stars on the blue flag at the bow. So it's the Union Jack, and then you give the flag a salute, and then the desk officer. You see, you salute the Union Jack first. But when he picked his hand up to salute the Union Jack, the whiskey fell right at the foot of the deck officer of the deck. Who's I think it was one of the lieutenants at the time. He said, "McKinney, get down to your bunk, you bum." And crashed right in front. First clean this mess up. Down to it. Yeah, they didn't do court-martial, nothing like that. But he was not supposed to bring liquor on a military, on a military ship, And that's that. Between that and the Chinese guy chasing us in Shanghai, that was the funny part. But another thing, like the Pacific is so hot. So when those rain squalls come over the loudspeaker, everybody knock off work, take advantage of the rain. So everybody take off your clothes and your skivvy shorts, up on deck in skivvy shorts, your shorts, and we dance around like kids. Hey, man, this is good. And we dance around like kids. That was nice. I like that. And next thing you know, the squall goes away and it's hot again, 105 degrees. Yeah,
Wow. Now, how did you feel about the use of the atomic bomb?
Yeah, we didn't know. They wanted us to re-enlist. They wanted us to re-enlist for 6 months. They said there's something called a bikini atoll. Atoll is going to be some kind of a explosion called the atomic bomb. You want to enlist for 6 more months, you'll go on the test. So I said, no, my time is up. I want to get out of here. A lot of guys enlisted for it, the atomic bomb. But like I said, all we knew at the time, let me see, the atomic bomb was before, it was before Hiroshima. How'd it go now? Yeah, it was before. But they didn't tell us, the atomic bomb was in 45, and President Roosevelt had died just a little earlier. The war wasn't over yet. Because after the war, like I said, we went into Yokohama, and Yokohama was flat. You could look from here to Colony, empty, nobody, no buildings, no nothing. You should have seen what that did. Yokohama was flat. All the B-29s did that, B-29s. So we used to see them coming over the ship at Guam. They would take off, and one day we were trying to count them. We got up to 90. They're still coming. We got up to 90. It was so much you couldn't count no more. We got up to 90. But to show you the truth now, after the war, 5 years later, when the Korean War started, like I told you, we hit Yokohama again. Everything was built up. We took a train this time. I was in the Army, across Japan to a place called Sasebo. All across, we came across Kyoto, where the big Buddha is. I think that was Kyoto. We seen Mount Fuji. We were a train ride all across Hiroshima. Everything was halfway built up. I seen a church that was left standing. Yeah, they left that as a monument. Seeing that, but you'd be surprised. Some of the cities that they didn't touch, look nice. But we came through Yokohama again 5 years later. 5 years later, and it was just about starting to get built up again, right. But the atomic bomb really flattened Yokohama. Yeah, flattened Yokohama. Jeez, that was something.
Mr. Best, thank you so much.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it, Gee, yeah, how you doing? Yeah, how you okay? Yeah, I appreciate it.